If you would have told me a few years ago when I first got into My Hero Academia that in 2020 I would be here saying that Shigaraki is an incredible villain and one of my favorites right now, I'd be like, fam, where you getting this from? What's wrong with you, bro? Because, yo, My Hero Academia chapter 281, fam! Oh my gosh, yo, I ain't gonna lie though, I feel like I kind of manifested what has happened to Gran Torino. If you watched my video about a month or so ago, I was like, yo, just take Gran Torino, just take him out of here, and voila! People, this chapter of My Hero Academia, very, very vital, very important, and it seems as though, like I've been saying, you take it back to the GOAT, Shigaraki, shit gets spicy. People, we had a few chapters of the Gigantomachia stuff, which it wasn't too bad, I ain't gonna lie, I was enjoying it, but the fandom wasn't at its peak when that was going down. The fandom was like, let's get back to Shigaraki. We get back to Shigaraki, and boom! Gran Torino loses a leg. And seemingly his life. You're like, yo, this chapter, the backstory, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little mad. I'm a little mad at what Gran Torino was doing back in the day. Like, Gran Torino, you PIMP little piece of shit. Like, seemingly Horikoshi was hinting that Gran Torino and Nana, like, Gran Torino, you little imp motherfucker, you was getting it in, huh? You was enjoying that wop, wasn't you? Like, yeah. Let's talk some of that. My Hero Academia is back, on that greatness. Let's do it, people. I'm hype, you hype, I'm hype. Let's get hyped together, people. Let's do it.
I say we gonna do what we do, no matter how you move, make your move. That's how it be, though.
So the chapter jumps off and it takes us back to a moment from the manga chapters from last year. We see Shigaraki's dad once more, and he's basically saying that these heroes hurt their own family in order to help strangers, which it kind of makes sense because that's where we left off last time, and I was a little bit like confused in terms of like Shigaraki already had rejected a lot of that and he hated his father, so him quoting his dad seems a little odd. But you gotta think, you gotta really dive into the madness to understand a character like Shigaraki, like Tomura. Like, you gotta look at it like he's having an absolute mental breakdown, a mental meltdown, and he's been like slowly on the decline in terms of like the last few years now, if you look at it, of where he's at mentally. And then on top of that, you have what Dr. Maruta Shiga did to him, like the surgery and shit like that. Yeah, he is losing it. He doesn't even know at this point. All he knows is destruction. He doesn't really have a core center of beliefs and values other than fuck society. We live in a society. And that's pretty much the extent of Shigaraki, because he can't even really grasp a hold of what he believes anymore when he doesn't give a shit about his father, but yet he's quoting his father as if his father instilled a valuable lesson to him. It's like, yeah, he's screwed up here. And is it just me, or does it feel like Horikoshi is a sick man for naming this chapter Plus Ultra? I'm not even gonna lie. I'm like, what was Plus Ultra in terms of for the good guys in this chapter? Like, was it Plus Ultra of Gran Torino getting his leg ripped off and getting impaled onto the ground? Was it Plus Ultra in the flashback when Gran Torino and Nana decided to give away their child, seemingly their child? We're not sure if that 100% was confirmed or not regarding Gran Torino sticking it in. But, like, what was Plus Ultra about that? The fact that Shigaraki's about to take dude's powers away? Like, you sick man, Horikoshi. I love it. Because in case you haven't heard, I've said it for quite some time now, but my friends, I am rooting for the bad guys. I want to see bad guys win. Yeah. And a lot of this chapter, because following, you know, the first page is like Shigaraki ranting and raving about how much heroes destroy everything, how heroes who can't save people, they pretend they didn't see them, and, you know, their own folly is what's bringing them down, so to speak, because he just, like, that's, I guess, something that he's holding on to, too, of why he hates heroes so much. So it's not completely, you know, despite what I said earlier, it's not completely that his moral compass of where he's at right now and his overall objectives is lost entirely. He's just grabbing onto any rationale in order to sustain this hatred, because, you know, there's a part of him that probably wouldn't mind going back. That's still somewhere in there. I'm not going to completely give up on that factor that he's probably still lost in there, the little boy that wanted to be a hero, that his father whipped his ass and did all sorts of fucked up things to him, but he's holding on to the bad things that life has brought to him in order to keep him grounded and centered on destroy everything. Fuck heroes. Because we even get, again, the flashback of when Shigaraki was alone on the streets and nobody would help him. The old lady was like, I'm sure somebody will come and help him. Like, yeah, the world is rough. The world is a cold place. And I like seeing that this is a very big, in my opinion, reflection of society. This is somebody that slipped through the cracks. This is somebody that society and everybody failed him, and now he's coming back with a vengeance. Because he says the system rejected him, so now he's rejecting the system, and he's gonna put it to a halt. I'm just like, I understand he's wrong. I understand he's a villain. Why can't I root for the villain, fam? Why can't I be the Garo of My Hero Academia? I am the Garo. I want the villains to win. Hate it or love it, because I'm sure people are like, you sicko, ForneverWorld. I guess. And of course, he says that epic line with the epic art, and he's like, that's what makes us heroes and villains. And my gosh, Horikoshi, what you're doing with that art, fam. And you see that panel of just Shigaraki laughing and the way it's drawn and little particles all over, just the small details. Horikoshi, you could tell Horikoshi really appreciates and enjoys drawing Shigaraki. Like, that's probably more so, in my opinion, his favorite stuff of this story, because it shows, like, that's the most interesting stuff. That's when the character development is the most exciting. Like, don't get me wrong, some of the stuff with Deku and quirks and shit like that, but I think because Deku is a hero, and we've revisited time and time again throughout media, throughout, you know, this medium of manga, like, oh, the hero's rise, the boy's journey, all of that shit, we've seen that so much. So it's like, yeah, it's cool and shit like that, but seeing that same type of process, that same type of thought into a villain that is a psychopath is what's interesting about My Hero Academia for me. Seeing the rise of a monster like Shigaraki, how he was once upon a time a scrub that none of us really rock with like that. Like, now if I go back and I watch My Hero Academia from episode 1 or read it from chapter 1 through, I'm gonna just constantly be like, there's my boy. He might have been a scrub here, but we know what's about to come later. And Endeavor tries ending Shigaraki, but he's still going, and Endeavor's starting to get tired. Even Gran Torino's like, yo, Todoroki is, which obviously that's his name, you know, that's his last name. That's technically Shoto's last name, not Todoroki. But yeah, he's like, yo, he's getting tired, which you gotta give the credit. I know I'm gushing all this video regarding Shigaraki, but I gotta do it, fam. I gotta keep it real. It's like, with no quirks, because you see throughout the chapter, you got Aizawa there, his eyes is probably wanting to explode inside of his face because he hasn't blinked. With no quirks, looking last chapter like it was a wrap for him, he's still getting back up. He's still fighting for his life. Not even fighting for his life, he's fighting for his ideals of destruction. And Endeavor's tired now, and he's still going, no quirks, all muscle. Shout out to the GOAT. And then when my prophecy came to fruition, when Gran Torino was there looking at him like, yo, he's starting to get tired too, and he just grabs Gran Torino's leg, squeezes it, and fucking rips Gran Torino's leg off. I'm just like, oh shit, this is crazy, this is nuts, I love it. Because then after that, it cuts to the flashback. We see Gran Torino, which was it ever explained? Is it just that it's comical to see him little? Was it ever explained why Gran Torino was like a full-size grown man back in the day, and then now he's just this tiny little squirt? Like, is that supposed to be like, oh, because he's old now, he's like real little and shit like that? Because anyway, we get the flashback of Nana when she gave up Shigaraki's father, and we see her with Gran Torino and her saying, I have no son anymore, I never had a son. And one of the things that led everybody, including myself, to believe that Gran Torino is actually Shigaraki's grandfather from his father's side, because the grandparents we seen, I want to say, was from his mother's side. The grandparents in the flashback, these would be the grandparents from his father's side. It seems as though, with the last lines, Gran Torino says, the decision we made, and then it cuts to a picture of them holding each other, which looks a little close, a little romantic. I'm just saying, it could be that he meant a decision we made in terms of like, I helped you with it as a mentor, as a friend, but I don't know, it just looked a little lovey-dovey, and it looks like that could very well be more adding to the tragedy of Shigaraki's character and his life and everything that he's lost and the relatives that he's hurt, because he essentially just seemingly murdered his grandfather. Holy shit. Like, you go down the rabbit hole of the things that Shigaraki has done at this point. Irredeemable is beyond the phrase to go with. And I love how he keeps quoting his father, the disturbed man that he is. He says, just to help complete strangers, Dad said. Which even referring to him as Dad is just like, man, this dude is screwed up. He's screwed up. I mean, we know this already, but I gotta keep saying it. He's fucked up in the head. And then seemingly it looks like Shigaraki pierces and slams down Gran Torino. After ripping his leg off, it looks like he pierced straight through him into the ground. I mean, it's not confirmed, but it looks as though he killed Gran Torino right there. It seems as though like you just see blood splatter everywhere and shit like that, which is so insane because if that is actually his grandfather right there, I don't even know where I would put him at right now, but I could honestly say in terms of the current Shonen Jump villains, he's really, really high up on my list. He is like top 5, top 3. I don't know. Again, I'd have to really go through because there's a few dope ones or whatever, but the character development that Horikoshi has added, especially this year, tying it all together since he's busted out of that chamber, Shigaraki's on another level, fam. Like, he just potentially killed his own grandfather. Mind you, he probably doesn't know. He probably doesn't realize, hey, grandpa, I'm just fucking putting my arm through your stomach, you old bastard. But still, that adds even more to the complex situation that is Tomura Shigaraki. And seeing Deku's reaction, him just bugging out there like, whoa, yeah, Deku, yeah, he's a monster. There's no saving this dude. And Shigaraki is even faster now, and we got the hero, what is it, Ryukyu, I want to say, the dragon-looking dude or whatever, starts attacking Shigaraki, and Shigaraki, yeah, he's getting a bit tired. I mean, he has to at some given point. Like, so, even though, like, in my last video, I was a little bit upset of the fact of, like, how is he down, why, but yeah, he got no quirks. He's fighting off pure, the will to destroy, the will to kill is what's dragging him along in this fight. So yeah, he's starting to get tired, but he's still got some aces up his sleeve, baby. Like, the goat ain't going down without a complete and utter destructive fight. Cause Deku's like, yo, I will never forgive you, and Shigaraki replies, I will never forgive anyone. Like, you ain't gonna say you ain't forgiving him. He ain't forgiving you, he ain't forgiving him, he ain't forgiving none of y'all, so fuck what you forgive, fam. And I don't know what Deku thought he was doing, trying to restrain him with Black Whip, which if Deku had a harder grasp, a better grasp of some of his quirks, let's just say he had, obviously, One for All, you know, the strength part of it, the Black Whip, and maybe one more, maybe it'd be a different story, because at the very least he is holding him at the best he can. But of course you got to keep in mind that Shigaraki doesn't have access to quirks, so change that little particular point, and yeah, Deku be on the ground crying for mommy, I don't want to be a superhero no more, no. Then we got Endeavor charging him, saying just hold him there, one more good hit and it'll be a wrap. And that's the setup for whatever the hell is about to go down. Because Shigaraki's like, those fools don't know that I still got these two. And it seems as though those are the bullets that basically, the quirk killing bullets from, you know, the overhaul situation, the Eddie's ability that was inside of those bullets. And I'm curious how this is all going to play out. Like, there's a possibility here, right? Like, let's just say Gran Torino didn't die. Let's just say Gran Torino survived the impaling and the leg ripping of Shigaraki. He could fly and jump in the way using his speed to jump in front of the bullet whenever Shigaraki tries shooting off that bullet at whoever. Or, like, you know, I could see a possibility of maybe we won't have deaths in this one, but as a hero, as somebody that loves their abilities and loves helping people, that almost feels like, looking at Tagada, for example, that kind of feels almost worse than death, because you're stuck alive in a situation in a life that you don't want to live at all. So whoever gets pierced with these bullets is not going to be, I mean, it could be Deku, just thinking about that now, like a time skip of Deku having to train without One for All or some shit, and maybe it slowly comes back. I don't even know how that would work, but it could be Deku. It could lead into some totally other different shit. A time skip of Deku without quirks, which, wow, that'd be freaking nuts. We got Endeavor on the field, and again, I think Gran Torino will eat one of those bullets. So he'll be like a helpless old man with no quirks whatsoever. That'll be kind of a redemption as well, considering the fact that I'm sure he feels guilty. Like, yo, it was my decision alongside Nana all those years ago to go through with what we did, and look what turned out with our grandson. And honestly, this was a phenomenal chapter. Again, My Hero Academia breaking the boundaries, going hard as fuck. Like, best arc of My Hero, best arc of My Hero. Shigaraki, best villain of My Hero so far. I know people love them, some Stain and Overhaul, like, but not over Shigaraki. Like, don't do it. Curious what you guys think about all this, though. For starters, is Gran Torino dead? Was Gran Torino clapping Nana's cheeks? Like, is he actually Shigaraki's grandfather? Your thoughts on that? Who do you think is going to get hit with those two bullets? Is it going to be Deku? Is it going to be Endeavor? Is it going to be Gran Torino just darts in time to take one of those bullets? Just so many questions. And how do you think this is all going to play out moving forward into My Hero Academia chapter 282 and beyond? Will Shigaraki take the dub? Is this how we going? Is this where we're headed? I ain't gonna lie, I really love this chapter. My Hero Academia this year, 2020, has shot up in the ranks in my personal list of my favorite shonen. Like, it's up there. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and seemingly F in the chat for Gran Torino, F in the chat for somebody or a potential multiple people's quirks. Yeah, Shigaraki the fucking go! I love this chapter. Yeah.
It's nights like this, and times like this, that